Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this Farm Tech Tuesday talk. I'm Alexa Dawson, board member of Farm Vocal Alliance Region Midwest, and we just want to welcome all of you and thank you for taking some time today on this Tuesday to join us and to talk about electronic press kits. I want to really briefly introduce our panel today and then allow them to introduce themselves. First of all, I would like to say thank you to these panelists. And we have Anya Siglin from the ARC. We have Bart Redford from Walnut Valley Festival. And then our artist who is going to talk about their EPK is Spencer LaJoy. So I want to start with Anya. Can you go ahead and introduce yourself and your organization, please?
Hello, my name is Anya Siglin. I am the program director for the ARC. I have been in my current position for a little over 10 years, but I have literally been with the ARC since I was born. And some of you, I can see the faces, and some of you may already know that. I do, well, like pre-pandemic, we used to do over 300 shows a year and about 10 to 20 outside shows, including the Ann Arbor Folk Festival, which is in its 56th year, I believe, next year. That's about it. Post-pandemic, we're probably going to do this year maybe about 270 shows, I'm hoping, if all goes well. So as long as the attendance picks up a little, we'll keep going.
That's awesome. Thank you very much. Thanks for all the work that you do. Next up, we have Bart Redford from my favorite little home festival, Walnut Valley Festival in Winfield, Kansas. Bart, could you introduce yourself and talk a little about the festival?
Sure, Alexa. Thanks for inviting me, and thanks for the shout out to Walnut Valley Festival. We're a regional festival. We've been going on for 50 years. In fact, last year was our 50th Walnut Valley Festival. We have kind of a mix of genres, primarily bluegrass, but also folk, Americana. We have a little bit of Western music. We have some Celtic bands, that kind of round out everything. And so, and I've been in this position for 2017 is when I started working full time. But I grew up with it. My father ran the festival for many years, and so I'm no longer working trash, thankfully. But it's kind of a different set of sort of skill sets at this point. But it's really gratifying to work with such a great bunch of people and hear people that enjoy it. So
awesome. Thank you, Bart. Thanks for everything that you do. I know that you and the festival have brought a lot of joy and meaning to my life, so I appreciate it. And next up, we have Spencer. Could you please introduce yourself?
Hi, friends. I'm Spencer LaJoy. I use they, them pronouns. I am a singer-songwriter. Right now I'm in Boston, but I was born and raised in Hastings, Michigan, and I plan to move back there in the fall. So farm is very near and dear to me. I'm a winner of I'm supposed to do like credentials, right? I'm a winner of the Kerrville New Folk Songwriting Contest. I was a 2021 winner. I was a farm official showcaser last year, as well as a Folk Alliance International showcaser. I'm honored to be here among legends today.
And we are honored to be here with you. Thanks so much. So I think that we will dive right into the question, which is, what is an EPK? And as we start off with Anya, what are you looking for when you begin to research a band, when you're trying to find out if a performer is right for your venue? What kind of electronic press kit details or modules are you looking for?
Interesting. So we were talking about all this before we started, and I personally, I like to see people live. So I will look at the EPK and I will hopefully be able to see the person at a conference or something to really get a feel of what they're doing. I feel like with an EPK, as long as it's done well and not in, as other people would say, like in a loud venue and the sound is good and you can see it and it's not overproduced, I like to see what I'm actually going to get. I don't so I don't do a lot off of EPKs, and we don't, I don't do a lot of that anymore. A lot of the bookings that I do are going to the conferences and seeing the actual person live. So if they email me and say I'm playing here, I'm going to go see them if I'm able to. And if I can't attend a conference, we'll usually send our marketing director or somebody else from our venue, and they'll take notes on, on who's emailed and stuff like that and wants to come and play the venue.
Awesome, thank you. Bart, kind of the same question. When you're looking at a new group that's maybe new to you, what are you looking for when you go to their website?
There we go. Yeah, I just echo a lot of what Anya, shared with folks, that there's no substitute for live music, which is good for us. But there are definitely lots of bands out there that I've never just had the opportunity to see live. And so when they do have something on their EPK that's actually a live, set, or, just even a song or two, then I think that's very helpful. I rather than something in studio or something like that, a lot of times I like to see some sort of audience reaction or something like that. The flip side of that, though, is a lot of times with live, the sound is just really hit and miss. So if it's an outdoor festival, especially, but that's kind of one of the things I like to see. Just all the stuff that you would ordinarily see in an EPK, the bio, or a short, sort of statement about the band, able to open up a song right there and view it rather than being diverted over to other, pages or YouTube or whatever. And I'm trying to think. I'm sure we're going to get more into other aspects that are kind of interesting to see, but that's the basics as far as I'm concerned.
Awesome, thanks. Now, Spencer, I want to ask you, what are the elements of your EPK, and what have you received, if any, feedback on what people would like to see from you and what's worked for you?
Yeah, so my EPK, and I think we can broadly define I have an EPK tab on my website, but I think broadly defined, we're just talking about all of these elements being in a really accessible place on your website, right? So for me, I think I started having a lot more success, at least booking showcases and festivals, when I had good songs. I think we're just starting with the understanding that we have good songs and that we've been performing long enough that we feel confident about our performance. But I think I started having success when I had videos, bios, that were all really clear on who I was as an artist, really clear in my identity as an artist, really cohesive. And that just took a lot of time to curate, I think. But when I had videos with really good sound quality and bios that I felt really, really told my story, who I was, I felt confident and proud of giving this to people and saying, you should book me. I should be the person that you showcase. And I believe that because this content is telling the truth about who I am. That's not a logistical answer as much as it is. It just takes time to hone in on your identity as an artist and make sure that your EPK is reflecting that.
Yeah, I would really agree with you on that. That it does sometimes take just the time and experience to get yourself into the place where you want to present. So thanks for sharing that, Anya.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that, it's really important, the whole thing, because you can't see everybody, it's like Bart said, you can't see everybody. So you're going to have to book shows based on some of the EPKs, but it is really important. So I get so many emails and so many a link to see this song or, this, but a lot of those people don't have websites still. So it's not even on a website. It's sending me somewhere. It's sending me to a YouTube, and then I'm trying to find their website, or I'm trying to find anything about them. And, you really have to have the website. It has to all be right there. Like Spencer is saying, for a programmer to just go, okay, here's the short bio. Here's what they've done. Here's the EPK. You can have a live version. You can have, a pre-recorded version or whatever, it's just, that really does help a lot for me.
And I think there are other things too on the business side that folks need to be ready to present, to be ready to respond with that. What are some of what are some of those things for you, like on the sort of paperwork side that folks need to be prepared with?
Yeah, so we sort of go to through a process. We have a committee, and 4 of those are staff members, and then we have a couple of people that we rotate in and out, and so everybody sort of comes to it with their own perspectives, their own musical tastes, and their own sort of experience of what's important to them. And so we pretty soon after we realize we're interested in somebody, whether it be a major act or somebody that we're looking at specifically for an instrument, we do have instrument contests, and so that is something that we'll do. But we'll send out a consideration form, and I don't know whether there are a lot of places that do this, but we'll ask them to list out how many people are in their band, what workshops they might have done, whether it be an instrument workshop or anything really, other interests that they might have, and then finally we'll ask them to give us a price. We'll give them the short about what we provide, and then ask them to quote us a price. And we do occasionally have people that aren't willing to do that or don't think they ought to do it, but it really helps to have us or help us rather, sort of make sure that we're not wasting our time with somebody that we can no longer afford at this point in the process, or maybe no longer, we can't afford them anyway, or something like that. So.
Thank you. And then just to stick with Anya and Bart for one more question here, when you do have somebody booked for your venue, you're going to present them. An EPK can be a tool to get information that you're going to need to promote the show or to promote the band at your festival. So Anya, what kinds of things are you looking at for that use of an EPK?
Well, sadly, I am not personally looking for any of that because I don't do the marketing, but I do get it for Barb. So, what I try to get for her is, probably a couple different songs that we can put up on our website and we can put up on our YouTube channel or on Facebook or Instagram, and, just linking anything to any kind of social media that they have, anything on any social media that they have, if they have an Instagram site or if they have Facebook or if they have, hopefully they have a website, because, that will help also, but mostly, that's what they need for that. And a good photo of everybody in the band that is in the band, a current photo. And then, once they do play, I try to get the contract and W-9s. I'm just going to throw that in there because if you don't have a W-9, it's going to be hard to pay you.
I, for one, have one saved on my phone because I'm continually being asked for that little piece of information.
Is on us all the time about that kind of stuff. But, I think that gets lost when you're booking a show and you're excited and you're going to go play your show, and you play your show, the people come, you get paid, you leave, and it's like, so.
Awesome. Thank you. Bart, do you have any more thoughts about the promotional side of what should be readily available?
Yeah, no, I think, Anya covered that all really well. I know that there are some people that think that, you ought to have just one picture and stick with it. But I will note that sometimes for promotional purposes, having ones in different, formats and different orientations, whether it be horizontal or vertical or something like that, can help somebody out. But it is really nice to have something that has all the members of the band, everybody who's actually going to be playing, and is current. So.
Great, thanks. Now, Spencer, what are some of the things that you think, just on a really practical level, that you have readily available Do you have a stage plot on your site, or what are some of those like nitty gritty details that you just put out there so that folks have them?
Yeah, so credentials, press, a bunch of high-res photos they can download, streamable links, downloadable MP3s, like anything that they need. I think I like to think that my job is to make these folks' job easier, right? And their job is to make my career a little easier. We're just like trying to help each other, right? So I try to have everything available on my, anything that you can think of that they might need, readily available, so they don't have to ask me first. Yeah.
It would
Awesome.
be so
Thank you.
amazing if everybody had that like you have, Spencer, just so you know. It would be amazing. It would make life so much easier for everyone. I hope everybody's listening to what Spencer said. That's exactly what you need.
I'd echo that as well. And Spencer, are you able to share with us what your EPK looks like?
Yeah, I can do that. Let me see. Share the screen. You can see that? Okay. So this is the homepage of my website. Bio, long bio, tour dates. Oh, connect your connect to your website to like bands in town. When you get a gig, put it right on bands in town. You can always update it with ticket links later. Just let people know where you're going to be and when. Here's a house concert page. So in case, you know, you have folks who want to host a house concert, we can talk more about that later, maybe. Store, music, video. Okay, the EPK. So all my credentials here just listed right at the top, contact info right at the top, photos they can click and download, music downloads, MP3s they can have, a link to streaming right here embedded, a video, my favorite video, but there's a video tab if they want more up here, a short bio first, that's really clear on my why and my identity as an artist, and then a long bio with links to, you know, everything referenced. So yeah, it's all there. And I will say that like I cheat, you know, I look at artists that I really respect, and I mimic their websites. There's no reason to not steal ideas that are working for other people. Very little of what I do on my website is original to me, you know?
I have to say I did that just as we were talking about this upcoming tech talk, and Annie Capps was talking about, you know, what's on her website. And I went and looked at her EPK, and she had this really delightful paragraph about how grateful she was that somebody had made it to that spot on their website. You know, I don't remember the details that she shared, but it made me go and think about, you know, what do I want people to see if we're about to engage in this, you know, business deal here? What do I want them to know about me? So I want to thank Annie for that, because then I kind of went and wrote my own little version of just that personal connection, to thank them for being at my website and for making it that far to engage with my career and what I'm doing. So yeah, I like that. I like stealing a little bit here and there, and not just word for word, of course, but we are grateful, you know, for folks that are wanting to work with us. So I think that is worth acknowledging. And then I had a question about, has anyone ever mentioned things like, you know, I don't know if Bart or Anya, if either of you find it important to get a tech writer up front, or what kind of hospitality technical requirements, what kind of those details? We'll start with Anya. Have you found it really useful to know way ahead of time?
Yes. Well, before I actually will send an offer, I need to see a tech writer, and I need, you know, tech and hospitality, depending on the artist, you know, what I can do and stuff like that, depending on what they're going to draw. And, you know, I mean, do I have to rent a bunch of stuff? So that kind of goes into the offer also. So it is nice to have the production team, you know, I say team, it's one person at the ARC who it will advance the show, and, you know, she has to have a stage plot and everything that's needed to advance the show to make sure that it goes smoothly. As for hospitality, I see a lot of faces that I know here that have been to the Arc and some have played the Arc. We don't do a huge amount of hospitality at the Arc because it's just not in our budget, but we try to do a little bit and hopefully everybody's happy. So, on the bigger shows that we do, the big national touring artists, we obviously, we have to look at their hospitality rider also, and I will give them a budget that they have to work in, they have to work with, because a lot of people touring, they think that, we only seat 400 and, they play bigger venues and they think that they need, $1,000 for their catering rider. And I'm like, well, no, that's not going to work at the Arc because there's your payment. So it's, hopefully we do an okay job, on what we can do, what we're working with.
Awesome. Thanks. Bart, do you want to share about any of those requests or details or tech writers that you like to have up front?
Yeah, I think like for some of the bigger artists that we have, we'll maybe see, all the writers up front. A lot of folks, though, we hire and those kind of come later. And I think we get off easy in terms of being able to say we're an outdoor music festival and just kind of crossing things out as, this won't work, in this environment. So other things that we ask for are just relevant to us as far as, obviously there are the stock questions about, how many hotel rooms do you need and what are your requirements? We do have some people that drive in or bring a tour bus or something like that. And so it all devolves into, what kind of electric and so on and so forth. We ask for t-shirt sizes because every entertainer gets a Walnut Valley Festival t-shirt. And I'm sure that there are lots of other things that various people in my office reach out to them for. We do have workshops that we do right before a festival starts, and they're instrument workshops where they teach, and so that has to come with a lot of preparation to make sure that we're on target as far as what they want to charge for the course and all that stuff. So.
Spencer, what are you putting in your stage plot in your tech writer?
I'm super easy. I'm super simple. Yeah, I just tell them I make like a Google doc. It's really easy to make a stage plot. Just like draw shapes in a Google Doc and have a couple different versions. Like this is me with my string quartet. This is me solo, and send them, both or whatever one's relevant. Yeah. I make really simple stage plots.
Awesome. Thanks. I think that's a lot of fun to do, to move little boxes around and make little pictures. With the skirts, we have the little bathroom girls cutouts, It's a lot of fun. I did have a comment from Louise Baker, maybe to mention that it is important that the downloadable photos have the artist's name and photo credit instead of metadata. Otherwise, the presenter may not know whose photo they have. And that is a good point. That's something I will go back now and check my website for later this afternoon. And then we had another question from Mark Rust. He says, I always provide a print-ready press release for newspapers, etc., for my venues. Can you suggest what you'd like and not like in that press release? Can I start with you, Anya? Do you have thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's a little like I was saying earlier, it's a little bit more difficult because I don't do any of the marketing anymore. But I do know that if you're going to send something, that it needs to be short. So we do ask for, bios and stuff for our website, but it's 2 lines. It's something that, has to be like right there. We're not going to print a ton of stuff. And so it's really just has to be short.
Simple and sweet. Thanks. Any other thoughts about that?
Sorry, I just wanted to, Spencer made a very good point. I mean, we're really trying to help each other as much as we can. And so if somebody sends me, a full press release, whatever the format, whatever if it's written for another venue, it's something that can be adapted fairly easily, and we're happy for the help. I'm trying to think of other things that play into that. But we don't generally, I will note that we don't necessarily approach each artist and say, hey, can you make sure and edit this, piece that we put together for our program and whatnot. So if they've got something up with their website, we're probably going to, end up using it, or something that, has appeared about, them in the press, something like that.
Very good, thanks. One more little question before we get to some questions from the rest of the group here. Is there anything that you just don't want to see? Have you ever seen something on a client's website, or a person's website, and just been like, that's terrible, I'm never going to book them? It's a funny question, but maybe there is. Nothing? Okay. Didn't know if there were any don'ts on the do's and don't list of the EPK, but if nothing comes to mind. Okay. Thanks
I think the only thing that comes to mind is just know the venue that you're sending stuff to. Do your research, know the venue. Because we actually stopped taking in demos because we were getting too many that didn't pertain to the music that we did. I was getting heavy metal, hard rock, reggae, it's all great stuff, but it can't play at the Arc. So, and there was more of that than the other. So we just stopped. We had to stop taking any solicitations for that kind of stuff. But so just know your venue, know where you're sending it and who you're sending it to.
Thank you. Spencer, do you have any thoughts on things to avoid when you're putting together your website, your EPK?
The do your homework piece is good. I book a lot of house concerts and like community concerts, more than venue gigs, really.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the same. The way that I think about it as an artist is that my job is to take care of my audience and make sure that we all have a good and fun experience. So when it comes to booking house concerts, I'm really clear. I have copy paste language that I put in the email as far as what I stand for and what I'm about as an artist. And for booking house concerts, that's been helpful for me to make sure that the host and I are on the same page and the audience has a safe, good experience. But yeah, that's it.
Awesome, thank you. We have a question from Bart Moore, and maybe one of you can chime in, or if any and all of you have thoughts. How important is it to include downloadable MP3s versus streaming links? Anya, is there any use for you for a downloadable MP3? Spencer, you include them. Maybe you could answer why that's included in your EP.
I've been asked for them before, so I put them there. Yeah, that's it.
Very good. We also have a comment from Stephanie. Docs in the EPK should be Word format, so maybe copy pasted for buyer needs. Oh, for the buyer's needs instead of a PDF format, and it needs to be updated regularly. So does that make sense?
True, Stephanie. Thank you.
Copy and pastable rather than PDF. Thumbs up from both of our promoter performer. Thank you. I think we are now going to go to any other questions. Oh, they're just sending the questions to me, so I'm just asking them if that's okay. Mark Rest also asks, what's the difference to venues between a PDF and a JPEG image? I've had requests for both. Does anyone?
I am not 100% sure, but I think it just depends on where you're going to be posting them. I know that Barb has asked for both, and it's for just different reasons, different websites, different social media posts, if it's going in a print, advertisement or anything like that. I think it just depends on, where it's going. I don't know if Bart can comment a little bit more on that.
I'm in exactly the same boat. I know that we request different, things for different formats. So our program generally has a different format as far as versus what we have on our website, that sort of thing. So
that makes good sense. The difference between a print ad or an online ad. Annie Caps has her hand raised. You have a question?
Oh yeah, I'm just full of opinions. No. I actually, because I wear a couple of hats, sort of wanted to add a layer of looking at the quality of what you're putting up on your EPK. Sort of, obviously we want video, we want high-res photos, but so much about what I'm doing as a venue is figuring out how to promote an artist to the people I want to come see them, and get great art. It's not just having a photo, it's having a really compelling photo, something that's really nice looking. And I can't stress enough the importance of investing in professional photography and a really well done video. And so, for example, you guys were all talking about video for booking, right? You want to see live performance video, which is really important for booking, but honestly, to sell an artist, sometimes the stylized, those like professionally shot artistic videos work better in the promotion side of things. And so having kind of a mix and match, more is better. Throw a bunch of stuff up on your website. Like Spencer was saying, maybe not everybody needs a downloadable MP3, but make sure you've got stuff that's available for anybody in lots of different formats. And so just sort of overstating what everybody said. And for me personally, it also comes back to like the way the inquiry comes in and the email that comes in and how you phrase it, not just, hey, you got any room for me in your series? Thanks. Sorry, who are you again? Thank you. Anyway, that's the end of my speech for now.
Thanks, Annie. That all makes sense. We have a question from Brant Miller. Most of my live videos are unamplified from Folk Alliance and regional private showcases, as well as live streams from home during COVID. Are these useful for venues that have PA systems? Does anyone want to answer that? It seems to me that it's mostly just useful to see your presentation and to see what it's going to look like, if that venue chooses to present you. So if that's what you have, that's what you have. And, maybe looking at the venue's website and finding out who else they're booking, and then seeing what their videos look like may inspire you to bump up your production value a little bit if that's what you want to do. So, and from Peter, it says, and use a graphic designer if you can afford it. Good comment. All right, we have a couple more raised hands. Sheila, you have a question?
Yeah, thank you. So I'm technologically impaired. I'll just start with that. So the EPK has intimidated me for a very long time, and I've not accomplished it yet. I have a dance troupe, not musician, so there's a slight discrepancy in approach to things, I believe. One of the things I really struggle with is the videos, because we try to get good videos when we can, but there's a fluid membership in the troupe. And so if I send out a video that has dancers A, B, and this is for presenters, if you'd be so kind, if I send out a video that has like dancers A, B, and C and D in it, but the reality of my troupe this season is I have dancers A, B, X, and Y, is that, I would always put a comment in with my submission that this might not be the exact people that will be representing the group or performing at that event. Is that considered deceptive, or is that acceptable in a situation like mine, where you're not looking for that ace fiddle player or that specific banjo player, but it's a team of people? Does it matter that much that I'm sending you a video of people who will not actually be at that event?
Yeah, I'd say is what you mentioned at the last. As long as you note that, people understand what they're going to get or not get in this case, and so that happens, I'm sure. And there are lots of bands who have not to that degree a problem, but they do shift members or they have different projects that they're working with, and so as long as they're upfront with us and tell us, hey, this is what's going on, this is the way it is, we understand.
Okay, that's really helpful.
I would have to agree with Bart on that, Sheila. Hi, nice to see you.
Hi, Anya.
I think that, it's not completely changing either. So there's always at least like one or two of the same people. And I think the other thing is maybe if you had a list of like, here are other possible dancers that might be,
Available.
Yeah, you're not going to get, you may not get this exact group, but here are the other people that we work with, but you're going to get at least one or two of these in this dance group, because that's usually what it is. It's, you're always going to get one or two of them. You just might not get all four, or you might not, the same people, but I think that's absolutely fine. It changes.
Thank you.
Thank you for your question, Sheila.
Yeah.
Kyla asks, I have an EPK page on my website with photo, bio, and quotes, and a link to a Google Drive with much more in-depth information. Is Google Drive a good place for this, or do bookers not want to get redirected?
I'll go to a link on Google Drive. No problem. I mean, if that's where you want us to go to find the documents, that's okay as far as I'm concerned.
Cool. Thank you. We have a Derek Mears with his hand raised. Do you have a question?
Yeah, I have when putting things together with performance video, in your EPK, is important that what I've been experimenting with was using segments, like 1 minute segment, because I realize you all are busy people and you're not going to set 4 minutes, 3.5 minutes of a full song all the time. You may just look a minute and a half, this and that. Is it more advantageous to do that, or go with the full length live video on that EPK site?
Does anyone have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember an example of where I came across that, and I can't really think of that where somebody had just a short segment instead of a full song. I can kind of see the sense of doing that, and you're right, we are busy, but what happens when we listen to the beginning of it and we're like, well, I don't want to hear the rest of that. It kind of works both ways. Just my thoughts.
I think a really ideal situation would be a live performance. Many comments have talked about showing the audience and, showing whether the audience is engaged in the performance or are they scrolling through their phones. And also, if it's possible to just put together a promotional video that has maybe some snippets of a couple of different songs, your most recognizable songs, whatever, compiled together. Of course, that's a professional, production company that you're going to be working with to get something like that put together. But it seems like a video like that might be just like as a highlight reel, something that you could show off. So thanks for your question there.
Yeah, thanks.
So Spencer, you were talking about your house concert page, and you said maybe we'll talk a little more about that later. Did you want to talk more about that now?
Yeah, I can. For me, I have kind of like a niche little audience who aren't very familiar with the house concert scene at all, but they're really hungry to try it. A lot of like church communities who want to host me as well, and I bundle that in as a house concert. And I wanted one page that I could direct them to, or I was getting a lot of email inquiries about hosting me potentially, wondering if it was a possibility, but like this person's in Montana and that person's in Seattle and that person's in Florida. And I'm like, I can't route a tour to all of these different regions in a timely manner. So I will give you a page of a website where you input all your information, and where it says right on the page, this does not oblige me to play a show there, and it doesn't mean that you're hosting me necessarily, but this is where we can connect. We're making the connection. I'm getting all of your information, and then I can organize that in my email inbox. So that's been a really easy way for me to route tours for myself, house concert tours, because then I just go back to the Google form, and find all the people in the Pacific Northwest, find all the people, in the Southwest, and route a tour that way. Yeah. Oh, somebody's dropping the house concert link in the chat. That's very helpful. Thank you.
Sure thing. I'm stealing it, by the way.
Oh, cool. Yeah. I think I stole it
also-
from a couple people too. So
I had one up on my old website, and then I updated my website and like, oh yeah, that's a page that was on my old website that isn't on my new website. And I think you make a really good point that your work is really, you've decided that you have this niche that you want to dig into, and you're providing the information that the people need, who you want to work with. So that is a really good point. Maybe that doesn't apply to, the house concert might not apply to everyone on this call, but what is your, maybe the question is, what is your niche? What kind of people are you looking to work with, and what kind of information are they specifically looking for? Annie, you have a comment?
Yeah, two things. Well, I got another one that I'm going to delay because of this. So I would argue that like the house concert could be a way to get yourself into an area where somebody like Anya could potentially come and see you, or also develop an audience in an area, right? I mean, am I right about that? I see nodding heads. Any comments on that? Nope.
I can just say that I've seen several performers, first time at a house concert, a backyard concert, and absolutely it works exactly like that. Where I'm sure that they build an audience, but it also it's a chance for me to connect and see what they're like live. And because we're a festival, we have a large campground, and Alexa knows this. We have lots of bands that are out there playing on 4 or 5 different stages they have down there. And I'll take a run through the stages to see people, and then I'll also connect with people who are running those stages to see, if they've got any comments about, what's the best band you saw, like on your stage this year, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I would agree with you, Annie. It is a good way, if you're going to try to get into this area. There are a lot of house concerts around here that I do know of, and it does help to play there, because you can get your audience, and then once you get more of an audience, you can come over to the Arc and do stuff there. But I mean, we have to build things to be able to get to the bigger areas. So house concerts are amazing and great. And I do an artist spotlight that I'm trying to do, that I do every 4th Tuesday, that it's basically for my developing artists that I'm trying to, that I've seen maybe at a house concert or maybe somewhere else, and then I'm like, okay, it's a free show for the community. Obviously I'm still paying the artist, but it's a good way to break into the area also. And so, as much as I'd like to have more than one a month of those, the budget does not allow. If I could get a big sponsor, I could do more of them.
Isn't that the truth? And I know Bart is also shaking his head on the inside. Supporters, sponsorships, so important to these venues, festivals. Yeah, for sure. We are looking to see, we did have a EPK presentation from the farm conference, and Patty Stevenson asked if that was available for viewing. I think Charlie is checking on that for us. Annie, did you have something else? I'm sorry, your hand is still up, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's still up. Sorry, because I had an. I'm sorry. Actually, this was sort of more of another comment and maybe a little pet peeve of mine. And this is kind of on the other end of the spectrum, and present company excluded. I've experienced personally as an artist where I've got an EPK with like my chosen photos up there. And this is an important reason to have an EPK, because sometimes artists, like venues, don't even look for that. They just go Google you, and the next thing there's a photo on their website of you from 20 years ago, or with a different band, or just some ridiculous photo. So controlling your own image is a really like number one reason to make sure that you have an EPK that you can direct people to, because then you can legit say to the artist, and making sure you get in front of that instead of like reactively, providing, like waiting for the artist or the venue to put up a bad picture of you. Like make sure you say, here's what I want you to use. Or video. They may choose a video of something that was like uploaded from however long ago, just because it happens to have the most views or something. Anyway, these are
an aha moment for me as well when I realized that, a press kit means when somebody who has very little time to throw together an article for the entertainment section of their paper, they're not going to research my life story and develop their own opinion of me and wax poetic about it. They're going to copy and paste what I've put onto my website. So that's a really important point I think that we should make really clear, is that this press kit is really the press that you want to go out into the world, who you want these people to use it, and direct it, have a very convenient place for them to find it. So they're not hunting and putting up the completely wrong band, which happened to us in Taos, New Mexico. They were punk rockers. They were gorgeous, but we were very disappointing, I think, to anyone who came and expected to see that. So yeah, it's really important that that you put the stuff out that you want to see put into the press. So in a couple,
Can I add something? Sorry, I will say that is super important, because we have put the wrong photo, not necessarily the wrong photo of the wrong artist, but the wrong photo. Like, could be 10 years old, it could be 20 years old, could be a month old, but we get calls all the time, but hey, can you take that photo down? But it was the only photo that we could find, so if you don't have an updated press kit on there, we're going to put up whatever we can find. It's nothing we can do. We can apologize, but if you don't send us the stuff, there's nothing we can do. And I'm sure that Bart's put the wrong stuff up before or something, because it happens. I will tell you, it happens more with the bigger artists, because they have a team of people working and they might not update things as quickly. So, but just make sure that you have up-to-date photos. It's important.
Thanks. That is a really important point. Do we have any other questions? Derek?
There we go. Had to make sure I was unmuted. So a question with social media pieces, because there's a lot of, my day job is I'm a tech professor, so I always get way too in depth in building my music website, and probably should be doing my other day job stuff instead. But there's so many embeds out there for doing things. Is social media an important piece to this, as far as seeing, because there are embeds that would actually show feeds from your Facebook, etc., versus having links when you're doing an EPK? Is that something that you look at really in depth, the social media piece, and wanting to see what's out there? Because we all know that you can buy 5,000 followers tomorrow if you want to find the right place to do it, that don't necessarily follow you. What kind of importance does that in when you're looking at booking artists?
I can tell you that I don't generally look to see, how many followers you have. You're right. I mean, that's very easily arranged, but social media, by definition, it's something where it might appear in my feed at some point. So, the real purpose of it, I think, is it gets you out in front of more people. They notice you, and that includes us. We're also looking at our feeds in order to figure out, well, who is that? Or like, what's that song that, that's coming up here? And and that sort of thing. I'm trying to think of other things that have to do with, social media and the different types of them. But yeah, that's all I got for now.
Oh, sorry, Diane's. You're muted, Alexa. Sorry.
I'm so sorry. I was calling on Diane. Do you have a
Hi.
question, Diane Perry?
Yeah, sorry, it took a while for you to get unmuted. So as I put in a direct message, I am tech handicapped. And so right now my website is on Wix because I'm taking care of it myself. And I have things on my EPK page, but I don't know exactly how to put them on there in such a way that they're downloadable. I know that's a very techie question, but it is a tech talk. So does anybody have any answers for me? People have downloaded photos and stuff from my website, but they usually then ask me to send them a high res because it's not uploading and then downloading again in that format. And also, like you said, PDFs or docs. Like, is there a certain trick to getting it to be in an easily downloadable format?
I'm not familiar with Wix, and I'm not 100% sure. Spencer, do you have thoughts on like how your high resolution photos are?
Yeah, I so wish I could help you, Diane. I don't remember. It's somewhere in the Wix editor. And I think they have like a help option. You can even just search for like downloadable photos, and it's sorry, I wish I could remember.
Maybe a YouTube video with a tutorial would be a
Yeah.
place to search.
Yeah.
Annie?
I was just going to say that typically sorry, I was going to say that you can always just email the pictures if it comes to it. Just make sure you get up front of it, that's the sort of thing. But the Google Drive, I would refer you to that Google Drive thing. If the website isn't working, then make sure you have a Google folder that has everything in it. And maybe that's your EPK, just make sure you have a way to link to it from your website. The other thing is hire somebody. There's people that know how to do this stuff out there. Somebody posted earlier about hiring a graphic designer, hire a web person. It's worth the money and for the time saving of the frustration, especially if you're not a tech savvy person. Yeah. Oh, and I posted the link to the EPK webinar that we did. It was a streaming EPK, which leads me to my question. Venues, there was so much live streaming over the last 3 years, and there still is a bit of it. Do live stream videos work for you as a live performance demonstration? You can do a nod or a no or a maybe. So yeah.
Definitely missing that audience element. I think we were all missing that audience element so much doing all of those live streams, but completely understandable given the circumstances and situations. And I also want to, second your comment that hiring someone to do a job that they're good at is so rewarding for both of you because we're most of us here to be musicians and to play music, and some of us have the luck and skill to also do the tech side of it. But if you don't, let someone who's good at it do it so you can focus on your part of this. All right, Stephanie, you have a question? Comment?
Hi, sorry, it took me a moment to unmute there. Someone mentioned earlier about redirecting to a Google Drive. I just wanted to say, make certain you've already provided access to the person that you're sending that to. There's nothing worse than sending someone to your Google Drive and they have to email you and say, can you provide me access, please? So just wanted to throw that out there. Thank you.
That's a great point. And there's also an option, I believe, to set things where anyone with the link can view. And typically this is not super sensitive information that we're sharing. I don't think anyone is going to do anything nefarious with your tech writer or your stage plot. So it's probably safe to go ahead and put those, that folder, make sure that everything that is in it is for public consumption, and then go ahead and make it so that anyone with the link can view the items in your Google Drive. Derek?
Yeah, this is really not a question, but I know some of you that were talking about that you're struggling with Wix and Weebly and this and that and the other. If you haven't experimented with Canva, it has probably the easiest way build really high-res looking website that you can probably put together. Lots of templates, very easy. It will launch either with a Canva, tag, or you can add your own to it, but it's so easy to work with. And as someone who teaches web design by day, it's one of those things. It's like when you look at all of the rest of them and you look at someone that's, if you're really looking to put together an easy EPK, it is by far the most user-friendly platform I think I've seen for developing a website.
Thanks for that tip. I've used Canva a lot for graphics and maybe gone a little overboard with using all of the cool things that you can do and the backgrounds and effects, but it is a lot of fun. So we have one more question and then we're going to close with some final thoughts. Kylie says, I've been hesitant to post live stream videos to my EPK because a live stream performance involves a lot more talking to the audience, sometimes during the songs. Is this the type of thing that I shouldn't worry about because it shows the audience is engaged? That's an interesting question. Anyone have any thoughts on it? I mean, my thought is that anything to show that you know how to entertain an audience is going to be beneficial to your cause, to being booked. If you know how to engage folks, then that's probably a good sign. I need to close this up with any final thoughts from our panelists. Anya, would you like to start again? And if you have anything that you'd like to wrap it up with as far as your opinions on finding websites and looking at artists' EPKs.
No, I don't have much else to say. I'm a very, hopefully I help some people out. I don't know. Just make things easily available. And, if you're going to put an EPK out there and you're going to send it out. And I do like what Andy said earlier, if you have them on your website, to have one that's a live one and one you can have that, because some things, like if I'm looking for something, I do like to see a live performance, but I also like to see the non-live performance also. And that works better on a website. If you're going to advertise for the show or anything, that absolutely works a lot better. But
well, thank you very much for sharing your time here today with us. Really do appreciate it. Bart, do you have any closing thoughts?
Not necessarily a closing thought, but I thought of a follow up as far as Derek's question about social media and the importance of it. I think what I had forgotten, but it's patently obvious that if you're putting posts out that are somehow drawing attention to the venue or whoever's hiring you, even if it's not our venue, that's something that's very endearing to us. We appreciate all the help we can get, as far as cross promotion, that sort of thing. So that's it.
Great. It's always nice to reach out and thank the venue, share some photos, and talk about what a great time you had. Thank you, Bart. Thanks for your time today. Spencer, do you have any closing thoughts?
I think the only thing that I did not talk about that I think might be helpful is in bio writing. That's like a pet peeve of mine, is if you have just a really crappy bio, have somebody else who knows your music write your bio for you. You can edit it later, but have someone else do it, because they'll say much nicer and eloquent things about you than you will say about yourself.
That is a great tip. I've heard that from many folks, and I have had lots of friends help me with key elements of the bio and say things that I can confidently say because they said them, not because it came from my own mind. Well, I do want to thank you again, Spencer, specifically, as I did the rest. And thank you, everyone who has joined us today for this Tuesday Tech Talk. And then I think that unless Annie is signaling me to do something different, we're going to pass it over to Charlie to talk about some more virtual connections. Events that are coming up.
Yeah, Charlie.
Yes.
I'm throwing you under the bus to talk about upcoming virtual connections, but I did want to say one thing about bios. The other good is make sure it's not first person. I can't tell you how many first person bios I get. It's like, no, even if you're writing it. Sorry, it's hard to write about yourself in a second person. So, Charlie, where'd you go?
I'm still here.
I know, but I can't see you on my screen anymore.
I'm next to you on my screen.
All right, I'm adding the spotlight. Charlie.
Okay, here we go.
Thanks, Alexa.
Yeah, before I get into what's going on in virtual connections, I just want to say thank you to Anya, Bart, and Spencer, as well as Alexa for all of your work in putting this together today. And of course, always Annie Caps, who makes us all look like geniuses. So thank you very much. Anyway, what's coming up in virtual connections? We have next Wednesday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central. We have our folk DJ community peer session. So if that's something that's interesting to you or that you want to take part in, check into that, register. It's all on the virtual connections page. Next Thursday, we have our community peer sessions, and that is great. That we've been getting very good conversations and good collections of people in that one. So it's next Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Central. And I want to remind everybody that our registration for our big conference is open. Please go register if you haven't already. I was delighted to see some of the many faces that I haven't seen in a while today. And hoping that we'll see Mr. Mitchell return to farm this year, and many other people. I just haven't seen Chuck in about 4 years. I feel like it was good to see his face when he popped in. And what else is happening? Oh, official showcases. If you haven't applied for an official showcase, take a chance. As soon as you get all your EPK stuff done and all your videos right. I know I learned a lot today, and I'm going to be getting under the hood of my website soon and trying to fix things up. It's important for your official showcase, so get that stuff done, and please register. I don't think I have anything else to say, unless Annie can think of something I haven't said.
The folk DJ peer session, is that next week? Yeah, we got that.
Yeah, that was the first thing I said. Yeah.
Oh, missed that. All right, just thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. We're gonna